Hi, this is Joe Bolen, and welcome back to learning about VisualBasic.net. We're going to work on our project of a text editor, a plain, simple text editor that will allow us to edit text files and do log files as well. But before we get into that, let's take a look at where our documentation is for this series of videos about the text editor. The main area for finding out about the documentation will be out at pastebin/u/jboh. There you'll find not only the documentation for the text editor, but also documentation for other projects that I put out on YouTube. Also, you'll see the link to YouTube at Bolen Presents to see other videos related to VisualBasic.net. And for this particular project, the main form of our text editor can be found at Imager at the very top of the PowerPoint page. So that'll give you an idea about where to find the code. Pause your video now if you'd like and write down the different links, and then after the video go out and take a good look at Pastebin and study the code on that. So let's get into Visual Studio and take a look at what we're going to be accomplishing today. I have Visual Studio up with the Windows Designer displayed right now, and I'm showing you the menu tool strip that we've already coded in previous part of our series, and we're going to be concentrating on the Find and Find Next area of this code. So let's go into our code and take a look at where we're looking at. Okay, within the code in the regions block, and I've already coded in our changes, but I'll talk to you about that in just a second. We have the find from the tool strip where we're going to come in and code this information. We also have the find next, and then later on we'll work with the replace option as well. This is all in that particular area of the code. What we want to do is have our program bring up a Singleton form version to allow us to take a look at finding the text we'd like to replace, and then going about the process of searching through our document for the text we're trying to find. So let's take a look at the form that we're going to be using, and it's a very simple form. And what we have here is the text we're searching for. Then we're going to click on the Find Next to actually go through the process of searching. And we can cancel at any time we'd like, which will close out, or I should say hide, this form. And then we also could go up or down depending upon where we are in our document. If we're halfway through and we want to go up, we can just click on the up. Also, we can click on, or I should say check mark, the match case, so that if we want to be specific to find exact case match, upper and lower, we can find it that way. Otherwise, it'll be case insensitive for our search. Let's take a look at, first of all, what we're going to be doing in terms of the main form in the code. What we're going to be doing is in the find, we're going to instantiate a new form, and we're going to use the Singleton method. In this case, I'm using the getInstant method that I've created to instantiate the find form. Then when the find form has been instantiated and I only have one version of that form, I'll issue the show method on the form to bring it up for a user to select the text. Similarly, I'm going to use the find next. I'll use the same form and use the get instance again, but since I already have the form instantiated and I do not really need to see the form to fill it in at this point, I'm going to use only the find text method that I've coded within the form itself to find my text. So I can use the same form with the code from both options that I have here. So the important thing to remember is we're not using the normal dim a find text form as new find text form, but rather we're coming in with a specific instantiation code that we've created, get instance, so that we have only one version of the form. Okay, let's go into the form text itself, and here's our code. And also I've put out at Imager the actual screenshot of the form so you can see it again, if you'd like to take a look at it, and also information about our code. Well, we've already talked about the Singleton method, and I'm going to pass over that information because you can go back out and take a look at Bolen Presents at YouTube to see about the Singleton method. And basically, we've coded that into our code at this point in time. Let's talk more about finding the information we're after. Well, we're going to use to find our text the IndexOf and LastIndexOf methods of the string class, and that will allow us to search through the text to find what we're looking for. So I'm going to come down to the area that I've coded that actually does the searching and finding. As we come in, we set the start position and find position, and we're going back to the main form, to the my text box that we've defined. So we're actually going back into the other form to get the information to search. Then we're going to find the main form's my text box selection start location on that, as well as the start position, and then depending on whether we're going up or down, we're going to set it off by 1 or add 1 to where we want to start our search. Then, based off of whether we're going up or down in terms of where we're searching, we're going to use the IndexOf method or the LastIndexOf method on that. And that requires the parameters of what we're trying to find, which came in from our find area. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about this MainForm find string, why I've coded it the way I have at this point, the starting position, and then whether we're looking for it to be found by case-sensitive finding or ignoring the case of that as we come in. So based off of whether we have case sensitivity set or not, we choose one of the two options of our IndexOf method for the string function. Also, if we're going the other way and we're going up, instead of using IndexOf, we're using LastIndexOf and approaching it that way and changing how we search. Now, once again, one of the things that will happen is if there's a possibility that we won't find something that we're looking for in our search, and it will return back a -1 in the find position if we do not find something. At that point, I'm going to ask the user whether they want a reverse direction on how they're searching. Maybe they've come in from the midway point of their text and they've been doing a search down, and now they've come to the end of the text, and now we'll reverse it and allow them to search up from there. So we can go either up or down, and then basically what I'm doing is toggling the up and down radio buttons to change the indication. Then I'm quickly scrolling to where they currently are at and setting the focus back into the MainForm, my text box to get things ready to go. Now, if we do find something and we don't have a negative return on the find position, but actually have a position, well, we want to select our text with the find position, and we want to set it for the length of the text we were searching for. Then we're going to scroll to that location and set focus back in the MainForm box. So this is the code that takes care of actually doing the find of the text. Now, if I come up to a little further up here, you'll see I also have, when I do any changes in the FindTextForm and I do some changes, I'm going to set a public variable that's defined in the MainForm called FindString. And I'm going to use that public variable so that I can use it not only in this part of the code, but also use it in my replace text form that it will be showing you later on. So I'm going to always set the MainForm find string with whatever I'm trying to search for, and if I clear it out, it will also be cleared as well, so that we always have some value or an empty string in the find string of MainForm. Let's go back to MainForm and see that being declared. Go to MainForm, and I'm going to come up to the area where we declared it. And what I've introduced is this line of code right here, a public variable called FindString.AskString. And initially I set it as a empty string, but we're going to use that location so we can use it over and over again when we're doing our search or our replace. So we've got the when the text box find search word changes, we're going to update that through the text box change event, and then we're going to use mainly our driver for this is going to be the find text routine that we've coded in here using the index of and last index of. I highly recommend you go out to Microsoft Development Network, MSDN, and look up the string text index of and last index of to understand about its power and how it's used. It is one of the couple of ways we can find things in a text box. We can also use the contains method, but it only tells us whether we have it in our string. It does not tell us where it's located in our string, and I'm after looking at specifically where it's located. Also, we can use what's called regular expressions as another method to find our text, but I found out in timing that basically the index of and last index of have about the same timing speed to find the text as using a regular expression. So I've chosen to use the index of and last index of for our methods to find our text, and you'll see that the main part of it is right through this logic, through the area of this code of the find text method. Okay, once again we have also the find next. We're just coming back in and calling our routine. So anytime we hit find next off our menu, we're just coming down and doing our find text method that we've coded below. And once again, just to remind you, I'm using the Singleton method, and we're going to be hiding our screen when we're done with it, either by form closing, we're going to hide it, or we're going to hide it when we hit the cancel button. Now, one thing a little bit different on a form, we're used to using the form load event when a form first initializes to set some variables or do some routines before the form is displayed. Well, when we're hiding a form, we use instead the activated event on it. So when the form becomes activated, we do our housekeeping. And in this case, once again, we're going to take a look at the find string that we define in our public variable. And if it's not empty, we're going to set it to our find text box text as we run this code. So let's see it run and see how it works. Okay, we've got our text box up, and I'm going to load in a file for us to work with. In this case, I'm going to use the lazy dog that I have, and I'm going to come up and click on the edit, and I hit the find, and you'll see our FindTextForm appearing. Now I'm going to key in brown fox, and I'm going to use a downward search from where I came in. I'm going to do a find next, and there we can start finding it. And I'll just keep hitting it, and we'll keep going through and finding our brown fox in our paragraph that we have until I get to the end, and then it's going to ask me, can I find brown fox reverse search direction? I say yes, and you'll notice this will change here, and now we'll start to find upward, and we're going up through our text. So no matter where we are in our text, we can find something. Once again, it comes up and asks me if I want to reverse direction. Okay, let me change the text. Let's go for some. I'll put my cursor actually in this spot in the text, and we'll go upward this time and look for the lazy dog. Now we left our cursor in the middle. Now we're going to go up and now we're starting to go up and find our lazy dog. So we can change it. It's going to ask for reverse again. I'm going to say yes, and now we can go downward through our text to find the lazy dog. Once again, if I clear out this area, I lose also the Find Next button. Does not show, and I don't have the option. I have to have something in place here on that, so I'm going to look for, say, over. Let's go capital over and go match case, which I shouldn't have. And I won't find it. It will not find it. Let's now uncheck that. And I'm going to change that to not match it. And now we can find lowercase over. So there we see going through the process of going up and finding it, being able to turn around and say, yes, I want to reverse direction now, and go downward and find our text. Also, I'm going to hide the box now with hitting the close, and I'll show you that the code we have for the Find Next will also work. I'm going to find next again, and I'm just going to use the F3 now that we've coded in, and so it'll come in once again, give me the information reverse direction, and say yes, and I can go the other way. So basically, with our little bit of code that we've done, we're able to do our find. And once again, this is the FindTextForm that we have. We're using this text to search through based off of whether we go up or down through our text, and we're looking for whether we want to ignore case or match the case to find our text. Well, that does it for our find. And remember, it's just a very simple series of code where we're taking advantage of the IndexOf method and the LastIndexOf method to find our text in our my text box of the MainForm. So I encourage you to go out to pastebin.com, take a look at this code, and study it further in detail. You'll see also where I've added to the MainForm the find string, so I can use it as a public variable that I'll use not only in this part of the code of the find text box form, but also use it in my find or replace text box form that I'll have in the next video that we're going to show you. So basically, we're using that global variable as a sort of a holder that I can bring in. And you're also seeing in this code that when I'm in the FindTextForm class code, I'm actually going from that code and looking in my MainForm's text box. So I don't have to be using just the variables that are within my class, but I can actually search on the information that's in another class. Now it happens that the text box in the other class is defined such that its scope allows me to see it in the particular class I'm in, so that I don't have to be in the MainForm class only to take advantage of referencing data inside the text box of the MainForm. A lot of thought and confusion might be going through your head right now, but you'll study the code and I think you'll help to get a better understanding. And as we look at our next video about the replace area, you'll see it a little bit more where we'll take advantage of searching through the text box in another class, seeing it by referencing it directly to that class so we can find our text. So next time, take care, study the code at pastebin.com, get your hands dirty in the code, and if you're liking this series, give me a thumbs up on this video. I'd really appreciate seeing it. Until then, take care.